Welcome to another edition of the Fearless Football Forecast. I'm your host, Ronnie Woodward. This is Tony Castleberry, and there's Jim Gentry. Guys, we're near the end of the regular season. 5 games at home this week for Pitt County teams, and a couple teams playing for basically conference championships. So,
yeah, there's a lot on the line.
Yeah,
it's a good time of year.
We're getting toward the playoffs, gearing up for the playoffs, but a lot of big games as far as seeding and all that going on. So,
yeah.
Tony, this one might not be the case for our first game here, but struggling Pasco Tank is going to South Central, which is playing better.
Yeah, is that the official name of the school, Struggling Pasco Tank?
No.
That's awesome. No, but that's the truth. They are struggling. And South Central, on the other hand, got a little momentum going all of a sudden. That team really struggled through the first part of the year. All of a sudden, you look, they're 3-6. They get a non-conference game that you think would be a layup this week.
Should be. Sean Furlow coming off a huge game
Absolutely.
last week. More than 300 yards. Who are you picking there?
I'm picking South Central all the way. I think the Furlow train continues to chug along.
All right, Jim.
Same thing. I got to pick South Central. I don't think this one's close.
Yeah, it's a perfect time, obviously, to mix in a weak opponent. I think the Falcons win pretty convincingly. Next game, Jim, Washington at North Pitt.
Yeah, real interesting game.
Yeah.
A lot of line in there with Washington essentially playing for the conference championship. It's this North Pitt team has been kind of a weird squad this year. They look really good at times, so they went through that stretch where they really struggled. While Washington, we know, has been really good. We've seen them be Conley. They already have 7 wins. When you're 2 weeks from the end of the season and you already have a chance to clinch your championship, conference championship. As short as these conference seasons are, that means you're doing something right. So this is one of those games that we talked about. It could be a real toss-up. It should be a real close game.
Definitely. North Pitt could really make things interesting with a win
as
far as that league goes. Who are you picking?
Oh, man, this is a tough game to pick. It really is. I think I'm going to go with Washington, though. I mean, just from what they've done so far, their track record, and how consistent they've been. I hate to pick against the Panthers because I think this is going to be a really good game and they're playing at home. But I think I got to give Washington the edge to clinch that championship.
Yeah, I'm going with the same as well. I think North Pitt can keep it close. I don't think it's a blowout by any means, but I think Washington is a better team. They end up winning.
Yeah, I like the fact that Washington has won some big games on the road, and they'll be on the road Friday. I think they'll win.
All right, and next game, staying in that conference, I got this one. Farmville Central is at Beddingfield. 2 teams tie for second place, chasing Washington right now. So this is a huge game. I mean, if you can imagine North Pitt win and then Farmville or whatever, again, that's another game where things could really get shaken up. But nonetheless, this is a huge game for both teams. Farmville's coming off a big win at Southwest Edgecombe, the Southwest Edgecombe at home. Now they're going on the road this week, so a little change of scenery. You gotta obviously have to travel, but this is a game for second place and teams battling for the playoffs. This is a huge game for both teams, I think. My pick there, I'm going with Farmville. They're 7-1. They have a better record. On the road, I think it's close, but I'm going with the Jaguars.
Okay, I got to eat a little crow. I picked against Farmville Central last week. You guys showed me that you were able to win, so congrats on that. Beddingfield's a tough place to play, man, and they played a really tough schedule. But I'm going to pick the Jaguars this week. I'm not going to make the same mistake 2 weeks in a row.
All right, Jim.
Sweep for the Jaguars.
Right on.
Nice. Next game, Tony. Southern Wayne is at J.H. Rose.
Rose coming off the bye week, much needed bye week. Coach Wojciechowski said that they had a ton of players who were injured, including some key players. Some of their biggest names were battling some lingering injuries. So that week off came at a great time, and they come back to face a Southern Wayne team that's 2-7 at home. Things are looking good for the Rampants.
Definitely. You picking?
No doubt I'm picking Rose there. Absolutely. I think they'll move to 9-1. Great turnaround season for that club.
Definitely. Jim?
Yeah, you got to go with Rose in this one. I mean, playing at home with the bye week, just everything's set up real perfect for them to come away with a real easy win.
I agree. I think Rose rolls. Southern Wayne has been getting really outscored by a lot by the recent games. I think the Rampants roll there. Jim, Kinston is at Ayden-Grifton.
Not as easy.
Yeah, really close game.
I got the 2 real toss-up games, I think, this week.
I think you're right.
Kinston and Ayden-Grifton both tied, 3-0 in conference. Suddenly both teams are really rolling. And you look at like opponents, like what they both did against Goldsboro, same exact score. So it's kind of hard to get a good read on this one, I think. Then you look at the way they're scoring and how many points they've given up. The numbers are really close. It's one of those toss-up games where, they took their lumps in the non-conference schedule, but once they've gotten into the conference season, boy, things are starting to click. But someone's winning streak's going to end here in league play.
Yep, somebody's going to get a conference championship, and somebody's got to finish second. Who are you picking?
It's a tough game, man. I'm gonna go with the Chargers. I think being at home will be the difference.
Okay.
Again, just like with that North Pitt game, I think this is going to be crazy close. It'll come down to the fourth quarter, but
Yeah.
I'm going to give the Chargers the edge because they're at home.
I'm going with the same. I'm going with Ayden-Grifton in a close one. I'm interested to see what happens, but I think at home I'll give the Chargers a slight edge.
Well, I hate to, for there all to be like picks here, but I really like the mojo coming off Ayden-Grifton's team once they got into league. They really seem to have turned that thing around. And maybe the home fans are going to show up and be the difference that they need there. So I'll pick Ayden-Grifton too.
All right, last game, another huge game. New Bern is at DH Conley, a game we've talked about, it seems like,
all
for about
season.
a month or so now. Conley is coming off a loss.
Yeah.
Kind of a disappointing, I don't know if they were looking ahead or what, but they lost at Eastern Wayne last week. New Bern did its normal thing and won in a blowout. But essentially, this is still a battle for first kind of in the conference. Conley can kind of take the driver's seat in that league and really get an upper hand. New Bern, obviously, if they win, they're going to be undefeated and still going to stay up top. So this is a battle essentially for first place, right there in the mix and preparing for the playoffs. New Bern scored a ton of points. I think that's key. New Bern has the ball, has Conley's defense hold up because they're scoring, seems like 50, 60 points every week. So that's a huge game. I think that's the key matchup in the game. For my pick, I'm going with the Bears. I know Conley's at home. I just think New Bern's too talented. They're too strong, especially on offense. I think they win.
Yeah, it's hard to pick against New Bern here. I mean, I think Conley's going to be up for this game. I think they're going to do everything they can to bounce back from that kind of surprising loss last week. I don't think any of us expected that. I'm pretty sure we all picked Conley to win that game.
We did.
But I just can't see New Bern losing. They've got that momentum going, and it's typical New Bern stuff. Late season, they just seem to keep going. So I think they'll win.
All right, Jim?
Yeah, I'm going to go with New Bern as well. If Conley did come up with the upset, though, that would be one of the biggest wins in that program's history. I mean, to knock off a team that just racks up state championships, it's would be something. But I think this year, I think New Bern's got a little too much. But it would be really interesting to see how Conley responds to that loss, because you don't want to get in kind of a tailspin heading into the end of the season.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Imagine if Conley has a season. I know that loss last week was disappointing, but imagine a season where they beat Rose and New Bern in the same year.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't get much better than that for Conley. So we'll see.
And if that happens, that will maybe make the difference as far as seeding and who wins the league.
Yeah.
Conley holding those tiebreakers would be huge. So obviously a lot of good games going on this week. Make sure you check them out. Check reflector.com, and we'll see you next week.